welcome. This is Ruth, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make 5 different cards using these 2 die sets, and I'm actually making them at the moment for Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine issue 258. So you'll see them. I'll publish this video whenever that magazine is out in stock and available from shops or wherever, newsagents or wherever. But I have already made 5 cards, or actually 4 I think it is, cards with the same die sets, and you'll be able to see lots more ideas obviously using those, and maybe give you a little bit more inspiration if you have a little look back at the video, because I actually filmed those as well, and I'll put the link to the video of those ones down below in the description of this one. So before I carry on with these, don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, I would really love you to do that and hit the notification bell, and that way you'll see all of these as they come along and you'll not miss any of them. And if you are enjoying it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and leave me a little comment too. And my affiliate links for everything I use will be down below in the description of the video, so thanks very, very much for that as well. But we'll just have a quick look at what's in here. And the Always Happy set has a more oval feel to it, so you'll get an outside cutting edge, and then you get this die here, which is, I actually lifted off because there's other dies in there. This one then will cut into the page, and it doesn't actually bring anything out just to glue onto the card unless you use this outside cutting edge along with it. So those two will give you a piece that you can set down. In fact, I'll just show you how that works in this one. The outside edge and then the verso die, as it's called in Tonic, and when you use them both together you'll get this, and when you just use one into the card without the outside cutting edge you'll get this effect. So this one cut in will give you this effect that stays in the card. So back to the oval one again, Always Happy, I think it was called. Always Happy. So we've got these two, and there's beautiful flowers here, and of course you could have that going up the card, or you could have it this way, just whatever, portrait or landscape or just whatever way you like. And then we've also got some foliage and little dies here that make little banners. So this one says happy birthday, this one says you deserve it, and then we've got some other sentiments here that you can add in. Beautiful little flowers here, and there's a lot of different things you can do with this just by snipping it out and using some elements. You don't actually have to use the whole die set, and the same applies to this one. There's beautiful little flowers there that you can paper piece, but you could actually just go ahead and cut those out and snip them out. You don't even have to use all the parts of either of these 2 sets. But these little sentiments then can get cut into the card. You can cut the piece out with the outer edge like that, and you can use lots and lots of these little flower dies to go on as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to start, and I've been given a colour palette of, I'll just show you what they are, these colours here, and I might just add a few different elements, as I've picked out glitter card for this one, and I might use some other bits and pieces as well. Now, for my first card, obviously you've already seen where I started there. I took the outside die and set it aside and just used the inner die here, and I've cut that into a 6x6 card. So when you do that, you need to make sure that you set the card in while it's open and run it through your die cutting machine. Otherwise this die will try to cut through the 2 pieces if that's folded through your die cutting machine. So I've done that, and then I have taken the main outside die and cut the solid shape, and I want to glue this directly on top. Now the reason for this is that I've actually used the 2 dies together on that beautiful glitter card piece that you saw there. That's this piece, so that was cut with the 2 dies together, and I really wanted to have that on the front of the card but the open feeling behind it, and I also wanted to be able to have vellum on there. Now if I was to glue the vellum on here at the back, you would see dots of glue right through there, and I don't want to be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is glue this just with tiny dots of glue from my little precision nozzle here, and I'll glue the vellum on top. Then when you open the card you won't see those glue dots, but then I'm going to take this one and glue it directly on top of that, and that way we'll have the vellum in the middle and this on here. I got my little sentiment, and this one says you make everything better, and I'm going to put that on here. So I've cut that out in white card just to sort of tie in with the actual white base card itself, and I've used this outside die along with this one, and you just have to make sure that you don't put too much glue to make a mess, but you do want enough on that, because whenever you're gluing on top of glitter, obviously there's a rough surface for that to go onto, and you do need to make sure that you've got plenty on and you press it down. In fact, I could just leave that maybe with a book or something on top of it for a little minute or two while I'm doing something else, just to make sure that that's really, really well grabbed. But you can see there already that whenever I cut this piece out, the card was quite flimsy, but now I've got the vellum in, and that's pretty strong vellum there, and I've also got the 2 layers of card on top, so the white, the vellum, and then the glitter card, and it's actually really sturdy and it feels really, really strong as well. So now that I've got that vellum in behind, there's actually a little base if I want to paper piece onto. So I took this die and I laid it on top of some ocean blue card, as you can see here, and I'm just going to paper piece some of these pieces back in again. I've just picked this flower here because I don't want to do away with all that lovely light and airy feel of it, but I've kept the petals for this one, and I'm going to paper piece those back in ocean blue there, and that should look really, really lovely. Now, because I've got the vellum in behind and I don't want to see the glue, that's why I didn't do the paper piecing all over this, but I've got glue now that you can see on there, and I have die cut this little flower again, and I'm just going to take the paper out of those little pieces, all of those little petals, and put them back in here on the other side, and it makes a lovely little feature on the inside of the card as well, but it also covers up those glue tabs. And I suppose if you really, really wanted, you could go ahead and do that on all of the flowers, but I think it's much nicer just to do it on one, and you don't have as much paper piecing to do on the inside as well. I always like to tie in whichever card I'm using here and not just have one area. I think I sort of like to balance it. So I've taken the little flower dies, the 3 that come together, and I've embossed them with a little stylus and layered them up there. And now, in keeping with the glitter that's here and the card that's there, I'm just going to put some glitter drops into the center of these. This time I wanted to make a shaped card, so I took this die and cut it out twice in white card, and one is going to be the front and one is going to be the back of the card. Then for the top layer there, I've used both of these dies together in this beautiful raspberry pink card, and I've just glued it directly on top. So that is going to be my card front, as I said. And then on the back here, what I did was I laid the 2 of these together and lined this up on my guillotine so that I knew that was exactly level the whole way down, because it's very, very hard to find just exactly where the top edge of a circle is, but you know that it needs to be parallel to this. And then held that down and slid this one off, and then I knew at that stage that I had a piece at the top that was going to be parallel to this that I could then fold, and I scored down there. So just before I glued that on, but it could go on afterwards, it wouldn't really matter, I took the 2 sentiment dies as well, so the outside one, and I cut that out in white, and then I popped the sentiment one into the center of it and cut this out and glued it on here. And it doesn't really matter whether you do that at the beginning or the end, but I usually like to do all of that sort of thing before I glue everything together. Now, I've gone back to my pencils here, and I've got a packet of highly pigmented classic colour pencils from Tonic. So these are the Nuvo ones, and these are the pastel highlights, and there's a beautiful colour in there that goes along with this, and it's called Oriental Orchid. Not really a beautiful name. So I am just going to go into the centres of some of these petals and sort of flick outwards like that, just to add a little bit of colour in there. And then at the end I'll come back and I'll put some colour into the centre here maybe with crystal drops or glitter drops. Finish that one off, then I just added a few little sequins in, and they sort of tied in between the colours of the pinks and the pinky purpley sort of theme. And that's that one finished, and that will look different whenever the glitter glue dries there. It's quite milky looking at the minute, but it will dry all nice and glittery and sparkly. Well, I thought that was finished, but whenever the glitter glue dried, I thought I might add a little bit more shading. So you can see there I've actually added deeper shading in at the centre, and then I even went in around here and added some as well, just a little bit of aqua pencil as well. And I think that just gives it a little bit more depth, and hopefully you like that too. Now I've gone on to another card with the other die set. So this is the Always Happy set, and I have taken a 5x7 card. I'll just zoom you out a little bit. I've taken a 5x7 card and I've scored it down the centre, folded it over in half, and this time I'm going to make an easel card. So I put a layer on here, and then I've taken a strip across this way, exactly the same 7 inches as the card is, and I think that's about 4 centimetres. I'll just check for you. 4.5 centimetres, and then obviously this one then is 4, and I'm going to put that on there. But in the meantime, I don't want to add that on because I'll be putting 3D foam pads on there, and I think I'll just keep it flat for the meantime to work with. So I've used the large outside die to cut a white layer, and then I've used that one and the floral one together, and I've cut it out in this beautiful bubblegum pink. And now I'm going to pop that on here. So what we need to remember is the card needs to be, whenever it's flat, it needs to all be contained within this area to fit into the envelope. So you don't want to glue that away up there, and then you'll need a bigger envelope and whatnot. So I am going to glue this just by the bottom half of the piece on here, and as you can see, I've actually taken the piece out from the center, because if I was to leave that in, the sentiment then would be sort of going sideways, and I want it to go across this way. So once I get this glued on, I'll come back and show you how we're going to do that. For the sentiment then, I used the same colour of card, and you can see there it's similar to this, but it would be contained in a piece that you would just set down, and I didn't want that, so I've snipped around it. I held it together still by these pieces. I didn't snip it all apart, but I've now got this lovely sentiment which doesn't have to go this way, it can go this way, and if I just be very, very careful, gluing it on with my little precision nozzle again, that's going to fit on there and just look lovely. Now I've taken some white glitter card and I've die cut the flowers there, so I'm going to paper piece those petals in here. I didn't need to cut the whole thing because I only actually needed the pieces that I was going to paper piece back in again. So again, I'm just going to glue some of these areas, and I think I'll actually do all of the 3 flowers this time. That glitter card looks lovely in there, but I want to add a bit of definition into the centre. So I've taken another classic colouring pencil, and this one is Tangerine Tango, and I'm just going to add some definition in here as well. To bring all of that together then, I've put a little strip of the glitter card across the centre of this little strip here, and I've made some flowers up with all these little flower dies here. And now I've got 3D foam pads along that part, but I'm just going to add glue on this because I can keep it quite flat down at the bottom, but that part with the 3D foam pads is actually just to hold this part up so that it stays in place. And I can line that up just there with the bottom of the card, and then you can see there the way that just naturally falls into there. Now you can also see I've actually made a few extra flowers because I wanted to add a couple of these, and they've got the glitter card and whatnot, and I'm going to add them up here somewhere. I'm not just too sure yet. There, yes, that's where it'll be. No, there. Yeah. The very last thing I have to do in this one then is just to add a few little drops into the centre of the flowers, and that's it all finished. Once the glitter glue dried inside these little flowers here, I thought it would be lovely to add some in here. It's quite a subtle touch, but I think it worked out well there as well. I thought that card was finished, but as I always do, I leave it sitting for a little while and then I come back and usually add something else onto it. So I hope that's another one you like as well. Now I've got a 5x7 card this time, and I have taken the main die, so that's this one, and again I have just opened the card flat out like that, set this on top, I ran it through the die cutting machine, I brought it back out, and then I popped this little die into the centre here and cut this piece out as well, so everything's open right through there. And on the other one that I did that too, on the square card, I put some vellum in behind it, but this time I'm going to put some of this blossom pink card in here. So I need to make sure that I get all these little areas grabbed, and then I'm going to do some paper piecing on the flowers in there as well. But I'll just hold on to that for a second or two. This piece of card is obviously just slightly smaller than the 5x7 card that I'm working on, but just make sure you get little areas of glue on all those pieces there, and especially at the tops and exposed sort of areas on these little parts of the sentiment as well, because you really will need those stuck down well. As you saw there, then I paper pieced the buttermilk yellow pieces back into the lovely pink there, and now I've got this beautiful pink, white and yellow card, and I'm going to take some honey gold glitter drops and just put them into the center of the flowers here as well. I think it needs that little bit of texture. I've used glitter card in some of the other ones, and I just really love a difference in texture as well. Oh, and I just think I might need some new drops soon. Now I've used a lot of these little flower dies in the buttermilk yellow, and you can see there, it's not really beautiful the way they're all layered up, and a couple up at the top, two little pink leaves made with this die. And now I'm going to do the same as I've done in the centers of these. I'm just going to add a little drop more if I can get some more out of this. I'm going to add a little drop more into all of those little flowers there. Just to finish this one off, I've added some pink pencil around the outside edges of the petals this time. So on all of the other cards I have gone from the center out and sort of radiated outwards from the center point, but on this one I've thought it would be really nice if I just added the detail at the edge of the petal coming in, and I hope you like that one too. For my last card then, I thought I'd make a little bridge fold card. So I've taken A4 piece of card and I've cut it at 15 centimeters here, and then I've scored it at 5 and 10 centimeters in from each side, and that keeps it lovely and even there. So this then is 15, as I said, and I wanted to make some panels to put in here. These measure 5 by 15, so these little panels going on top will be 4.5 by 14.5, and I've got those ready to glue on each side here. And then this one is 9.5 by 14.5, and that gives me the sort of basis to start on for my bridge fold card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those on first of all. Now to make the little bridge fold part for this, I've got a piece of card which measures 20 centimeters in length by 5, and then tail to go across the middle of it, and that is 20 by 4.5, and this one then is 20 by 1 in the glitter card. And all you need to do is fold one side over and glue that only on this part and then on this part here, so it's just here and here in behind. I'm just going back to this card to show you the part that I want to add on here. So on the first card I made, you can see there that this beautiful pattern is on the right, and I wanted to add just that area to this card on top of that bridge, but I didn't want all of this extra part on it. So I've taken this die and this die together, and you can see there where I haven't gone over the whole card, but I've cut the plain one out in white just on its own, and then I have used the two together on the beautiful teal card, and I've cut that out as well. And I trimmed around all these pieces here, just trimmed this off and cut these little pieces out here, and that left me with a little shape which I was then able to glue directly onto a piece of white card. So now I'm just going to trim around this as well. It actually would be quite nice just left like that, where it's straight across the top, but I think I'd rather just trim right around that and have this beautiful shape as well. So you can fussy cut around that or just leave it plain. Now I can go ahead and glue this directly onto there. In keeping them with the glitter strip across here, I paper pasted some of the glitter into the centre of that flower there. Now, because of the darkish background, I don't want to put too much glitter on and just keep a lot of white there to brighten this up a bit, because that's just the kind of look I want of it. Now, I really wanted to show that you don't have to use the sentiments that are with this set solely with this set. You can mix and match so long as you swap them out and cut them out. So you'll see on this card that I have cut the sentiment out with the little strip around it there, and I've recut it in white one more time, and this time I've trimmed off all these little bits all around here, and I've just got the sentiment itself, and I want to attach that on there. So again, I'm just going to take my little precision nozzle, whoopsie, and I'm going to glue that directly on there. So I'll probably do that off camera because it's hard to get to see it from this angle. I need to put my head right over there. So anyway, I'll pop some glue on here, and then I'll add that on. And then the other thing I want to do is add lots and lots of these little flowers. So I've taken these dies, as you can see here, and I've cut out lots of little flowers, and I'm going to shape some of them with my stylus or my embossing tool on a little mat and add them across the card as well in some of these areas here. So I've got lots of little flowers here and one here and here, and then I added a little banner made with this one across the bottom and put a little double flower in there. And now I've got my honey gold glitter drops, and I'm just going to put a little center in all of these, and that's it, finished. And of course that folds flat for postage. I just can't fold it. No, I can't fold it now because I'll sort of smudge or blotch these pieces here, but it does fold down this way. And that's it, all done. Now that's my 5 cards all finished, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I'll be back at some stage later when the magazine is actually produced and published and I'll show you them. I don't get a copy this time, but I may, hopefully I'll get an online copy and I can show you bits and pieces and show you what they look like actually in the magazine. And in the meantime, if you do enjoy this type of video and even some of the other stuff on my channel, have a wee look at it and see, maybe you might like to subscribe, and then you could hit the notification bell and keep up to date with everything else as it comes along, because there's always lots and lots of videos coming. I'm always very busy and I do like to make videos, and I love to share them as well. So if you enjoy it, give me a big thumbs up and leave me a little comment, and my affiliate links to the magazine will be down in the description of the video as well. So until then, happy crafting and bye bye.